Exercise 5, we are going to develop a managed code application for your OS design. In this exercise, you will use Visual Studio.NET 2003 in order to create a C# managed application targeting your OS design. We add some controls and event handling code to your application, and then we build an application, deploy and debug the application in your target design. In order to basically start this application, first you have to make sure that the Platform Builder Manager has already launched the basically image into your target design. As you see right now, my image works, no problem. These are available applications that are ready to be executed on my target designer. In order to present the window of my target design, I'm using remote tools called Zoom in order to get connected to my Apex platform, as you realize. And actually, I can just get connected to the default setting right here, or I can just choose my Apex platform device and choose the configuration to be CE shell and kettle services. I test the communication, and as you see, gets connected. Click OK, and OK, and OK. And then I can get connected to my Apex platform device that I've already launched into my eBox. And as you see, Windows is running. Now, the first thing you have to do, you have to make sure that you have basically an IP assigned to the IP address of your target designer. So what I like to do, I like to show you how to do this. We're going to go and select basically the network options that I have in here. We're going to double click on it, and we're going to see the configuration of the IP address is already set to a particular IP address. As you see, we are setting a static IP address for our device so we can communicate. So my option here is already set. The first thing we need to do is basically go ahead and launch Visual Studio 2003. In this scenario, I've already launched Visual Studio 2003. What I like to do from the file menu, I like to select a new project. You could choose either Visual Basic or C#. It doesn't really matter, the code will work either way. If I choose C#, I choose a smart device application, and basically what I like to do, I like to choose a location here for my project to be created, and I like to call my application to be called Hello Apex, basically managed code. That would be the name of my project. I click OK, and that automatically launches this particular screen. I choose Windows CE and I choose Windows application. Click OK. That automatically creates a Windows form application for me. The first thing I need to do, I need to basically set some properties. As you see, by default, this is form 1 as a name. I'd like to change the caption to be like Apex app demo C#, for example. As you see, the title of your form has changed a little bit. You can resize your form the way you desire. In this scenario, you can basically resize your form the way you want it. Change it a little bit the way you like to appear on the screen. I make it a little bit smaller for this particular demonstration. And what I like to do from the toolbox, I like to just basically drag a button right in here. And from the property window, I call it, for example, hello, or say hello, for example. And on the name, I call this btn say hello as a name of my button. All I need to do now, I need to double click on this particular button. Automatically brings the code editor for me. And as you realize, all I need to do, I need to type in a message box that show, and I can basically specify a text. For example, I can call it hello from Apex Infotech. Remember that C# is a case-sensitive language versus VB that it is not. So whichever language your application developers are familiar with, they can use in order to go and basically create .NET applications for your target designer. So I like to also demonstrate VB.NET applications so you can see both languages can basically be deployed to your application. What I'd like to do now, from the deployment device, I need to choose Windows CE.NET device. And I select device options either from the toolbar or from the basically tools. I can basically go ahead and choose the options here on the configuration manager. On the build menu, I can choose configuration manager, and that automatically shows this is a debug configuration that it will be built. Or you could just go with the basically release version of this application. But in either case, you have to go to the device option. On the project, also you can go to the hello manage code properties and set some of these informations in here. You could select device, and as you see, it's going to place your application on the program files on your target design. Also, part of the configuration properties, you can select the build, and as you see, they show you that you have basically the debug option. On the debugging, you can choose different options in here. On the common properties, also on the general, you can choose different settings here for your device option as well. So in either case, I choose the device option in here, and I make sure that I choose the TCP IP to be set to the IP address of my target device. That's very important. You have to be able to communicate. So in this scenario, I've already set this option, use a specific IP address. That would be the IP address of your e-box. And you can basically pay attention to this particular operation. As you see, if I connect, automatically on the status bar on my basically Visual Studio 2003, it says that device is connected. However, part of Visual Studio.NET 2003, there is a utility for extension utility, actually part of Windows CE.NET extension utilities that you need to go and install. The Smart Device Authentication utility now is added. If you recall part of the original demonstration, we have already added basically that particular option here. On the .NET Compact Framework, we have already added the Smart Device Authentication utility on our target device. And as you see, Visual Studio.NET requires this utility, which is right here. Actually, on the Tools menu of your Visual Studio.NET 2003, you have a Smart Device utility available. What I like to do, I like to basically launch that particular utility from my device. So what I need to do, I need to go to Run and on my target designer, and I need to type in SD Authentication Utility Device. This is basically the name of the program that you need to run. And by doing that, by clicking OK on the target designer, you can actually see this. And this IP address is whatever IP address you have set originally on your target designer. All you need to do is select Start on this particular screen. And as you see, the Start button becomes faded. So from Visual Studio 2003, you can select a Smart Device Authentication utility and choose the same IP address that you saw here. So all I need to do, type in 192.168.2.2, say Setup Device. So this way, now we can communicate from Visual Studio.NET 2003 to our e-box. Remember that this particular screen is going to probably show you a message or some warning. Just ignore them. Just click OK. You are set. Make sure you don't close this. If you close it, the communication will be basically lost. As you realize, if I click Close, basically the communication is lost and we cannot communicate and deploy our application. So what I need to do, I need to basically go back to my target and launch this SD Authentication Utility Device again, and click on Start again in order to basically be able to communicate, deploy my application to my e-box. So make sure you do not close this particular option. 192.168.2.2, set up the device. This status has to always be connected, and you should minimize this in order to go ahead and test your application. So what I like to do now, I like to build my solution. You shouldn't get any error whatsoever. As you see, 0 error. And you could simply deploy your solution to the target designer by clicking on Deploy Solution. So as you realize, I choose the actual device, click Deploy, and as you see, it copies everything into my application designer. And if I select Run, automatically executes my application to basically target. So if I click Say Hello on my target, you see that the message box appears on the screen. that would be hello from Apex Infotech. So let's go ahead and add some debugging capabilities to our application. So what I like to do, I like to press an F. I like to basically put a breakpoint in here by right-clicking and pressing an insert breakpoint. You could also press F9 in order to place a breakpoint. And let's just stop our application. And as you see, I've put a breakpoint in here, and I can basically run this application again. And this time, my application gets launched again. And if I click on say hello once again, it will basically launch back here to my application, and I can step into my code. And by stepping into my code, automatically you realize that the message box appeared. So you can not only deploy your application, but also you can debug it right from in here. And as you realize, as soon as I click OK, it comes back to my screen. I can basically use my debugger window. So in this demonstration, you saw how to create a managed application using C#, part of your particular project. So what I'd like to do now, I'd like to also show you that if you have VB.NET application developers, I call it, for example, Apex, say hi, VB demo, and click OK, and choose Windows CE again. This time brings up Visual Basic.NET environment. Very similar screens, and as you realize, the power of Visual Studio.NET 2003 allows you to go and create application for Windows CE, either from VB.NET or C#. So on the text message, I say Apex VB.NET for CE 5.0. And what I like to do pretty much the same thing. This time I put a text box and show you a little bit more of the event-driven programming. And what I like to do, call my text box to be, for example, txt name, and my button to be, for example, greet. And on the button I type in btn, for example, say hi. And all I need to do here, this time I have to know VB.NET language, so I say either message box, or again the same thing like message box here that you learned in C#, and specify, for example, hello, and we're going to go and concatenate basically this hello with the value coming out of text property of my text box, and that way we can basically go ahead and test it. If I select build solution again, I can basically make sure that the device is set and is already communicating. If I connect it, as you see, the device got connected. Don't forget that you need to always have this smart device authentication utility to be on. I already set it on. I just added the new project, so I don't have to redo a smart device authentication on both basically Target Designer and my Visual Studio.NET. I don't have to do that because I didn't close my Visual Studio.NET. I can simply go ahead and deploy my solution, make sure that it gets deployed to my C device, not the emulator. And as you see, I have to check to see what has failed. It says the error operation could not be completed. So what I can do, I can close this. If you see these errors, these are part of basically problems that we still face, part of Visual Studio.NET 2003 and communication with the platform manager. So all I need to do, I need to set the device authentication. Again, if you face that problem, all you need to do, basically do this again, click on start in here, and launch that particular smart device authentication utility one more time. So hopefully that will fix the problem. If I set up the device should be connected. There you go. Don't forget, don't close it, just minimize it. And this time if I deploy it, it shouldn't fail, and I should be able to communicate. And as you see, it did successfully complete it. So if you face some problems, just simply close it and redo the whole work. But usually you shouldn't be able to. Hopefully in future service packs and other versions of Visual Studio.NET will take care of this problem as well. Now let's go ahead and put a breakpoint in here and run our application once again, deploy it, and this time I'm going to go and refresh my Windows CE. And as you see, VB.NET application got created, and I type in my name, and all I need to do is select greet, and as you see, it jumps automatically to the line that is supposed to concatenate hello with my first name. So all I need to do is just continue to the rest of execution, and as you see, the message box appears. So in this demonstration, you realize how to create Visual Studio.NET, manage application, and download and deploy it to your Windows CE located in the target designer. Not to mention that there are so much to talk about as far as learning Visual C# or Visual Basic.NET, as well as the platform builder itself, available remote tools that you might have here in Visual Studio.NET, as well as the platform builder remote tools. There are so many other classes, so many other labs that I invite you to come and take care of it. I hope this entire demonstration helps you in order to get started and work with the platform builder as well as the Visual Studio.NET 2003. Hopefully this opens new windows of opportunity for your company or yourself in order to endeavor new opportunities for your job market. Thank you, and good luck to your project. Thank you.